The guillotine is a form of execution most commonly used in the French Revolution for beheading members of the French Revolution. The contraption consists of a tall frame which holds a sharp, weighted, angled blade that is held above the board. The person would be strapped down on the board, placing their head inside the headboard as the executioner releases the blade, which swiftly travels down the frame and decapitates the victim with one clean cut, severing the head from the body. For some time, the guillotine was actually called lancette, but it was then changed to the guillotine after a French physician and Freemason named Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine suggested that the guillotine should be used to carry out death penalties in France to save the victims from suffering. This was brought before the National Assembly in favor for the new capital punishment, which is how the guillotine then got its new name. The period of time between June 1793 and July of 1794 was considered the Reign of Terror. Attempting to overthrow the government led to chaos. Most of the democratic reforms of the French Revolution were suspended, and thousands of them were sentenced to the guillotine by a revolutionary tribunal. Commoners, nobilities, to politicians were all liable to be executed by the guillotine on little to no grounds. Just suspicion of revolting were considered crimes against liberty and can be executed. For some time, the guillotine actually attracted large crowds of people and offered entertainment for them. Vendors would sell programs to the people telling of who was going to die and when. It wasn't unusual that even parents would bring their children to witness these executions. But by the time the Reign of Terror has subsided, the crowds then thinned from the executions.
The French weren't the only country to use the guillotine. Many other European countries adopted it too. Belgium used the guillotine until 1856. Germany used the guillotine along with firing squads as legal execution. The Germans called it a Fallbeil or falling axe. The Nazis also used the guillotine to execute over 16,000 prisoners between 1933 and 1945. In Sweden, beheading was a mandatory form of execution, and they did it manually until 1903, when they adopted the guillotine, but only used it once on a man named Alfred Ander in 1910. He was also the last person executed in Sweden before they banned capital punishment in 1921. In 1996, a U.S. Georgia representative unsuccessfully sponsored a bill to replace the electric chair with the guillotine in the state. There were many famous people beheaded by the guillotine, including King Louis XVI of France. He was arrested on the 13th of August, 1792, and his execution was held on the 21st of January, 1793. The executioner was Charles Henry Sanson. Marie Antoinette was another famous person executed with the guillotine. She was married to King Louis XVI. She was tried and convicted for Revolutionary Tribunal on October 14, 1793. She was executed October 16, 1793, by Charles Henry Sanson. Maximilien Robespierre was another person executed during the French Revolution. He was a lawyer and politician. He was one of the most influential people during the French Revolution. When the police came to arrest Robespierre, he attempted to shoot himself, but only shattered his lower jaw. On July 28, 1794, Maximilien Robespierre was guillotined without trial. When the executioner removed the handkerchief that was holding Robespierre's jaw together, Robespierre let out a vicious scream that lasted until the blade fell. George Couthon was another person from the French Revolution to be guillotined. He started out as a young deputy, but by the end of the Revolution was a well-known lawmaker. He created the law called the 22nd Prairial, allowing thousands more of people to be guillotined. He was executed alongside Robespierre on July 28, 1794.